you're business people, you're elegant, you're charismatic. I'm just a guy with a machete in the jungle. But what I want to do tonight is I want to tell you about my background, where I came from. I want to tell you how New Skin allowed me to achieve my dream. And I want to tell you why this place truly is a force for good. And we're going to talk a little bit about epic. Is that okay? Let's see if we can do that in about 30 minutes. So this is me. I just flew in from Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where I live. This is me up in Jackson Hole. My father was a park ranger. My mother was a biologist. I grew up with my dad caring for little animals. Last night I was up in the park watching two bears, young bears, chase elk around. The elk were going in a circle, the bears were sneaking and going in a circle. A moose showed up, it started going in a circle. This thing's a circus out here. But I grew up with a very strong commitment in my family to conservation. My mother was a scientist. She used to take me into her laboratory, show me how to use her microscope. She was with me when I graduated from Harvard. In a lot of ways, intellectually, I'm a product of my mother. My father really represented to me conservation. And so as I became older, I had a question. Do I become a scientist like my mother? Do I become a ranger like my father? I still haven't answered that question yet. But I think ethnobotany sort of combines those two features. So, as I mentioned in the introduction, I was really kindly given by the White House a large sum of money to do anything I wanted to do in terms of research. So, together with my wife, Barbara, we got out a map. We looked for which island in the South Pacific would have the largest rainforest. My mother had passed away from breast cancer. I wanted to see if I could find some new treatments for that. So I went to a place that in so many ways is the ancestral home of the Polynesians, an island called Savai'i. And wherever the Polynesians went, they'd always name the biggest island Hawaii. Savai'i, Hawaii. We lived in this little hut here for a full year. I apprenticed with healers. This is my wife, Barbara. My daughter, Emily, there on the, I guess the left of the screen. She's now a professor at the University of Washington. The little girl next to her, Mary, is now a lecturer at Oxford University. Hillary, the small one, married the son of a very prominent businessman. You may have heard of him. His first name is Blake. My son, Paul Matthew, works for Morgan Stanley in Dallas. He came in and he said, "Dad, I'm sorry. I don't want to be a botanist. I want to be an investment banker." I said, "Yes." That boy's my retirement. But what I did for a year is I apprenticed with the healers. Because the people in Polynesia, like indigenous people all through the world, have this great store of knowledge. Not that they learned from school, but they learned from their grandparents. And I wanted to see if there was something they knew that I could use to develop new pharmaceuticals. And that's been an extremely rewarding career. We discovered a new drug for HIV/AIDS based on knowledge of indigenous people. We currently have in FDA trials a new drug for Alzheimer's disease in advanced trials. Based on knowledge of people in a remote village in Okinawa, Japan. And I just felt that I was so impressed by the extraordinary knowledge and dignity of these people. And I wanted to find a way to get a return to them. I was so grateful I made the front page of the Financial Times in London because we gave the patent rights to this drug to the Samoan village and the people, and it was only right that they share in the benefits. But drug discovery takes a very long time. I wanted faster returns because these people had urgent needs. And I thought, what if I used their understanding of plants as personal care? And I wrote a little paper. Now, typically when I write scientific papers, it's read by about 12 people, 11 of whom are my direct relatives and in-laws. This paper, however, I was stunned. I started being pinged by every major cosmetic firm in the world. They'd invite me out, they'd ask me to help them develop a line of personal care products. Very nice people. Their laboratories were bigger than anything I'd ever seen. But when I got to the point of, what can you do to help these indigenous people? What can you do, your company, to send back to help these indigenous folk? The answer was always, well, our lawyers wouldn't let us do that. And I got very discouraged. And then a friend said, well, you know, there's a small company. Why don't you go meet these guys? So I went and met these two guys here. The guy on the left, his name Blake. The guy on the right name was Steve. They had sort of weird haircuts. But these guys were astonishing. And I said, look, you know, I'm here because I want to help indigenous people. They said, that's why we have a company. I'd never heard that. I said, if you really believe that, I need you to make a gift to help the people in this remote village in Savati Island so they don't have to cut the rainforest down. So they can build a walkway through the rainforest. And that way they can get income for their needs. And they invited me to the convention, they brought me up on stage and they handed me a check. There it is. That's my daughter on the Folly and the Rainforest Walkway. And I learned something really fast about Newski. Look, I'm not a business guy. I'm not a charismatic person like you folk. But I sure know when people keep their promises. This company has never broken a promise to me, not once. I've got to believe if they say they're going to do something for you, they'll do it. The other thing that really blew me away was when we started this product line, and I wanted a scientist or somebody, they always get them, like they said to me when we started Epic. And we actually started working on it in 1994. Boy, that dates me. I was 6 years old then. In 1994, and they said, well, what do you think about packaging? I said, well, you know, your stuff's elegant, but this is from the rainforest, this is jungle. They said, well, what do you like? What sort of packaging? I said, well, I sort of like packaging of Estee Lauder's Origins. And they went and they hired the designer of the packaging, Cynthia Graney, from New York City, brought her to Provo, and she designed the packaging for Epic. Whenever I've asked a company for a scientist, or a research product, or a clinical trial, the answer has never been no. And this is one thing I really want you to understand. There's a lot of great companies out there, okay? But this company is heavy in science. This place really invests in science. And the science going down here is world class. I'm just honored to walk into that building across the street and hang out with those guys. I've never seen a company invest so much in scientific research. And I want you to know that when you hold a product, there's been many hands, many minds working on that. So I've just been so thrilled. In fact, one more quick story. We had an initial project came out, product. They said, what do you think? I said, oh, it's great, no, but on the ingredient, that little ingredient list, they misspelled a Latin name. They stopped the whole production, took everything off the market, put it back right. So when they make a mistake, they make it right. And that's something else I've learned about this, okay? So let me tell you about a few of these products quick. So this was fun. I was living in Sweden. I got to be the professor to King Carl XVI Gustav. They have a very long ski race called the Vasaloppet. Anybody here speak Swedish? Oh, jag vill skulle lära tala svenska, men jag pratar inte bra. Anyway, so I got a mint that the Native Americans would rub on their legs to run 100 miles. And we started using that in Sweden for cross-country skiers. We started using it as a family for skiing, it's for tennis, people on their legs. We call it ice dancers. Anybody tried that product? It's a fun one to demonstrate. And the great thing about making products is I made products I wanted to use myself, okay? And I pumped this one full of some stuff. Anton Bond in Germany called me up. He said, you guys see these pictures? When we put this on people's legs, their varicose veins disappear. I said, do not say that, Anton, to anybody. But I started laughing because I put that in there and just didn't tell the company. Here is sort of this trio. Firewalker, anybody try that one? Now every Tongan, every Samoan, every Tahitian, is going to know what I'm going to say now. There's a plant called tea. The tea plant. How many of you used it? Come on. Raise your hands. Yeah. You rub that on and you can just feel the pain going out. This Firewalker is 3% by volume tea plant. It won the top product of the year in the United Kingdom. It's prescribed throughout the world by physicians for post-operative foot care. And then Soul Solution makes your foot pretty, and we talked about that a little bit. But my very favorite one, and I'm so proud of the company, is this one. This is called Ava Puhi Mono. Everybody say that. Yeah. Now, if you go anywhere in Tonga, Tahiti, Hawaii, Fiji, Samoa, you say those words, Ava Puhi Mono, they'll take you to see this plant. And what was fantastic about this plant is the Polynesians squeeze it on the hair. They showed me how to use it. You're, in a little pool, they squeeze it on their hair, and you wonder why these Polynesian women have just this exquisite, beautiful, long, silky hair. Turns out it makes Japanese and Asian hair long and beautiful too. And I use it every day. And so the thing I love about it is the company, here's the dialogue. It's okay, I think I've got a new shampoo for you. I want it called Ava Puimon. He said, how do you say that? I said, Ava Puimon. Okay. They said, well, where do we buy it at? I said, you can't. And they said, what? And I said, yeah, it's not for sale, commercial. And I don't want you herding in the rainforest, so you probably have to grow it maybe in Hawaii on old pineapple groves. Oh, okay, Paul. Well, how often does it bloom? I said, it only flowers once a year. And you can only get it out of the juice out of the flower once a year. And they said, well, wait, so you want us to make a shampoo for something we can't buy, we have to grow it ourselves, we have to only use it the one time a year it flowers, and that's it. I said, yeah. And they said, oh, okay. And that's what they do. That's what they do. And they collect these bulbs, they spin them in like a washing machine, it spins the juice out. And it's really fun because if you're with me and I'm in the islands, I'd love to do this with you. We just cut off the bulbs and squeeze them on your head, and then you jump in. It's really a blast. And I got to say, this is my favorite product because it basically is Ava Puimoni juice with a little stuff so it still works for you when you're in Oslo or Montevideo or wherever you live when you get it out. And we have it in at the end of the thing. So the company's so fun, and I was so impressed with the company, what they've done in Malawi. Who's been to Malawi, seen the projects down there? This is for true. Can we say that? It's for real. We're changing these people's lives. I'm so proud to be part of that. And I said, well, could I make a product where we source every single component from African villages? I said, well, give it a try. Here it is. Baobab body butter. It comes from the fruit of the baobab trees. And what's so fun, and this is why I have so much fun with the company, every time an epoch product sells, 25 cents goes into the force for good to build schools and hospitals. I said to the company, for this one, every time we sell a jar of this stuff, could a tree be planted in Africa? They said, why not? So every time a jar of baobab body butter is sold, a tree is planted in Africa. We've already got a forest going down there. And what we do at our house, because this is hard to keep around, once we finish, it's a moisturizer. It's a really good one. It uses the fruit of the baobab tree. Once it's empty, we stack them up so you can see how many trees you planted. You know, and I'm responsible for the name, so forgive me. Everybody's baobab, body butter, you know. And I got a letter from a guy in South Africa. He wrote and said, Dr. Cox, about your baobab body butter, I've been putting it on my toast and breakfast, and it doesn't taste right. You know, he does. So what happens is that I set up with Steve and with Blake at the very beginning of this project that every time we sold a tube, 25 cents would go in the Force for Good. We didn't know that would have marketing appeal. Can you imagine how naive we were? We just thought it was the right thing to do. Because these wonderful people in the islands, wonderful people in China, the Native Americans, all these people work with me. They share their knowledge through love. We want to show respect back. Okay? Well, let me put this in perspective for you. Again, I like Estee Lauder products. I think they're great, you know. But the company one time wanted to get behind breast cancer, a cause dear to my heart, and they said, we will donate this year $25,000 to breast cancer research. What a great thing. Newskin has donated well over $25 million to the Force for Good. $25 million. And it just keeps going. So what I want to do is I want to show you a few of these projects, okay, and then conclude. Part of the New Scan Force for Good projects go to Ecology, a foundation I created to build schools and hospitals for indigenous people. In return, they set aside their rainforest and the coral reef. You've set aside 1.5 million acres. I was sitting on a plane to Zurich, and the guy was nice, and he said, and when he found out I was a conservationist, he said, well, aren't you just sitting on this plane and impacting carbon? I said, well, actually, the people I work with have set aside 1.5 million acres of rainforest, so I think I'm carbon neutral. What's your excuse? So let me show you a few of these projects, and then we'll conclude. Madagascar is one of the most amazing places on this planet in terms of biodiversity. There was a little village that never had a school. So you built the school for these children. Now, there's something I got to tell you about this school. It's a nice school, it's a nice village. It's a 3-day walk from the nearest road. And the villagers carried on their backs the concrete, timber, roofing tin, everything in that school. They carried for 3 days. That's how much they love their children. And in return, they promised to protect their entire forest, every lemur, every rare orchid, every bird, because they wanted that school. So it was great. We were all happy. And then we discovered something we didn't know, which is every rainy season, there's a river that rages. And the little children would have to swim that river to get to that school from part of the village. So we thought, well, okay, let's build a bridge. So, again, the villagers carried concrete, steel, put a bridge. They had never seen a bridge before, never heard of one. When it's dedicated, the elders of the village, they started to crawl across the bridge. They said, no, you can walk it. And so, here's the children. Today, those children got to go to school because of you building a bridge. And to me, that's what the epic line is about, is it builds a bridge between us and Samoa and Tonga and Africa and Iceland and all the great countries. It builds a bridge because they share with us their understanding with love, and we return it with love. And these are very real projects. Palau is a great island group up in Micronesia. You saved a forest in Palau. It's a beautiful place. The villagers said, we want to have a walkway. So when people come, they don't have to stumble through the jungle. Here it is. You built that. And in return, they protect the coastal forest. One of the funnest ones we did was up in Vietnam. Do we have any people here from Vietnam? Okay, I know where I'm going to dinner tonight. So this is up in North Vietnam, a place called Long, Vietnam. And this had the most endangered primate, the most endangered species of monkey on planet Earth, called the cat ba langur. People were shooting them and then exporting and selling the body parts for use in medicine. We met with the people who are shooting them, and we said, these are scary guys. They have like AK-47s, they're armed. And we said, tell you what, if you stop shooting these monkeys and you instead protect them, we will build you schools, we will educate your children for life. And they instantly flipped. And that population went from 32 to 64. Doubled. They're the most protected endangered species in the world. And I think they're so cute. Don't you think they're cute? I was looking at their hair and I started wondering, is it possible? More recently, we were in Fiji. When it's okay, no Fijian speakers there. Anyway, this is a remote island, Vanuatu. These children had not had a school. And we built them a school, we built them a solar electrification scheme, we built them teacher housing. And in return, they protected their forest, their coastal forest. And this was the 300th school that you've built. You've built 300 schools. So when that uncle says to you, well, what is it you do? You tell them, I build schools. I protect rainforest. I save endangered species. That's what I do. That's what you do. You've put in more than $50 million into this thing. It's working, and it continues to work. What an incredible way to make a living in this time and place. And the people were so grateful. They had a big village gathering, they sing. I went into the school, and they're learning Fijian, they're learning their language. And this little girl came up to my wife, Barbara, and she said, would you please take my picture with me? She was barefoot. That girl on the right walks 15 kilometers every day just to get to school because she didn't have one before. You gave these children a school. So to show their gratitude, the chiefs came out. I was lucky I was able to give a talk in Fijian. They were so surprised by that. They brought out a pig, they brought out the mats, they brought out a sperm whale tooth. When a sperm whale washes up, dies naturally, washes up on the beach, they have the tooth, which is a sacred object, and they bring it out. They serve kava, which happens all over Polynesia, because they consider the promises they make to us to protect that forest as sacred. And they show sacredness. And this goes all through all the cultures we work in at the Forest for Good. We built quarters for school teachers to come in, water tanks. It's a really terrific project. I'm running out of time. Let me show you one more. Sri Lanka, what a lovely place. How sad there was a recent bad incident. But don't count that against Sri Lanka. These are remarkable people. So we made a deal with the president of Sri Lanka. The deal was this. They would protect all of their coastal forests, all of them, in return for us providing microloans to 15,000 impoverished coastal women. So what we do is we give these women a 2-week course in business. Sound familiar? How to be an entrepreneur, how to lead a team. We give them a bank account, money in it, and then they launch and they buy a sewing machine, or they buy a shave ice thing, or they start a little a little taxi service. 15,000 in return, Sri Lanka would promise to protect all of their coastal forests. We built 3 nurseries for the mangrove trees. 3 nurseries in different parts of Sri Lanka. They've produced now 500,000 trees. And the one thing that blew me away is that the president of Sri Lanka asked the Navy to enforce the conservation. They just arrested 8 poachers. Saw it in the Sri Lankan paper. This is a scary deal. You go mess with those mangroves. You either got a gunboat, and they took me for a ride on a gunboat coming from the water, or you got 15,000 angry coastal women after you. This is probably, again, the best protected forest on planet Earth. And I'm so glad to be there with a person I respect and admire so much, Sandy Tillotson College. Let me show you that. Well, here we are in the Sri Lanka Mangrove Reserve and World Mangrove Center.
I am so impressed. It's really the first mangrove museum anywhere in the world.
Yeah, there's school children that come and see what's going on.
And really part of the conservation of mangroves is going to happen at a real grassroots level. It's going to happen when people stop destroying mangroves. It's going to happen where people start taking action and planting mangroves.
And what I love is that we have not kept the people out of the equation. Here we've provided microloans for 15,000 impoverished women. In return, they agree to protect the mangroves. They start businesses. I guess those businesses help other people. I've heard of a company that does things like that.
I think we do. I think empowering people is what we're all about. And what I loved about the project here in particular is for 2 weeks, the women learned about mangroves, about their importance in their environment, and then they spent time developing a business plan on how to take their microloan and increase it. And that's sort of what we do too.
And you could duplicate that.
It's duplication.
Duplication. So I guess what I want to say, and I know you do too, Sandy, is thank you. Thanks to all our distributors who have made this wonderful effort here in Sri Lanka possible, and particularly our people in Europe who really, out of the bottom of your hearts, have helped fund these wonderful women. We've met them, we're excited. I think they're winners, don't you?
I think they're going to take this opportunity to conserve and make it great.
And these mangroves are going to hopefully reverse global warming. I mean, seriously,
That's the plan. We hope to end hunger, and now we're hoping to end global warming by the conservation of mangroves.
And improving women's economy.
Yes.
What's wrong with this picture?
I don't know. It's a win-win.
I think we ought to call it a force for good.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Good idea. Thanks so much for your support. So, I was just saying that because it was Sandy. United Nations found out what we've done. They brought us back to the United Nations in New York City this December, and they gave Ecology the world's top prize for stopping climate change because of what happened. Because these trees sequester more carbon than any other vegetation type on the planet. So let me just conclude. What do you do for work? You educate small children. You protect rainforest. You save endangered species. You are reversing global warming. You are empowering women. You are giving people opportunity and hope that they never dreamt could be possible. And that was my dream as a boy, was to somehow make a difference for these indigenous people who I love and respect so dearly. Thank you so much for all you do.
Stuff he's been researching has been helping his hair, don't you think? Yeah, right. Thank you, Dr. Koch.